Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. So, me on my own today, not because this is a scheduled, is this thing on time? This is just an extra thing. We've got one of those coming up in a couple of weeks, actually, with Joe from BookBuds as our guest, which would be awesome. But I just fancy doing one tonight, and I thought it might be nice if I read one of my stories. So, I'm going to read the story that was accepted into Garbology. So if you've got this book, you might have read this already, but I'm going to read it out in the live stream. So I thought that'd be fun. But I thought I'd also start with just telling you what I'm reading and a really cool book I bought and something I got out of the library, which might be of interest as well. So I'm reading this at the moment, Assassin's Apprentice, my first venture into Robin Hobb, and reading this with Dave and Joe. So Dave from Book Blabber and Joe from BookBuds, they're ahead of me. And to be fair, I started it a couple of days ago, and I was really enjoying it. But last couple of days has kind of not really put me in the right state of mind to read. But she's really good, Robin Hobb. So that was a nice beginning. So I'm reading that at the moment. And as I'm want to concentrate on fantasy this month, I've got Eyes of the Dragon to read as well. My next Stephen King book, Eyes of the Dragon, which for ages was his only proper full-on fantasy, like straight fantasy book. But he's obviously since then recently wrote fairy tale. But for a long time, Eyes of the Dragon was the only one that was straight fantasy. So I'm reading that after I've read Assassin's Apprentice, and I am going to carry on rereading the Swords books as well. Can you see that? Oh, I've got the ring light there as well. Swords Against Death, Fritz Lieber. I read Swords Against Deviltry, the first book, again recently. Loved it, and I'm kind of halfway through that. So these are essentially short stories, so you don't really have to read them all at once. Although you do get into the spirit of it if you do read the whole thing at once, really. So it kind of is better to treat it as a novel, I think. But I was kind of, because they're rereads as well, I was nipping in and out of it. So this is the second book in the series, Swords Against Death. So I'm going to be reading that this month as well. So I wanted to tell you about this purchase I got recently. So it's really nicely packaged as well, and it's like feels like brand new. This was from eBay, and it's Bradbury Speaks, and it's kind of Ray Bradbury's speeches and essays and things like that. So as you probably know, you might know, I'm doing a Ray Bradbury deep dive and reading everything he's written that I can get hold of. And I've got quite an extensive collection anyway, but I'm sort of adding to that as I go along as well. And this is one I didn't know about, which I've bought now, which is really cool. So, looking forward to getting into that. But one of the things I'm doing in March is doing a little bit of catch up. And one of the things I'll be catching up on is the Ray Bradbury deep dive. So I'll be finishing off Golden Apples of the Sun and hopefully reading Dandelion Wine as well, hopefully. So, that was a really nice purchase. And I also, for the Historathon, but also that's out of my own interest, I thought you might be amused to find that I found a book at a library, which is the history of the biscuit. This is a history of the biscuit that goes right back to ancient times. So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, let me know if you think that's an interesting thing. I'll be reading that as well as we go along. It's quite a little funny shaped book, actually. So there we are, a book about biscuits. Let me just have a look at the chat. Thanks for dropping in, by the way. So Elaine's here. I was on in Elaine's chat earlier. Hi, Elaine. Nice to see you again. Oh wow, hiding in the margins. Nice one. Hello, there's Joe. I was just talking about you. Thanks for popping in. Elaine says I haven't read any Robin Hood, but keep hearing about that book. Yeah, well, I've been hearing about Robin Hobb for decades and just never got around to reading her stuff. So I thought, no, I need to do that now. So yeah, well, it's nice to sort of buddy read it as well. And Robin Hobb has really fantastic prose and animal companions. Yeah, I'm already impressed with just the style of writing. Just the prose itself is really good. So that's kind of that already gripped me anyway. Constance is here. Hiya. Oh, that was Heidi as well. Sorry, I didn't say hi to Heidi. Long time no see. People are jumping into different chats. Brilliant. Different live streams. Yeah, that was talking about the Buddy Reed. Noise. They spelled cookie wrong. Well, you know, I don't want to go on about the language thing, but it's an old book about an old food and it's using old language. Biscuit. They used the word biscuit before America even existed. Controversial. He's calling me a hobnob. Yeah, we're all reading Robin Hobb, and yeah, I'm just a little way. I've just read the first chapter so far, but I really liked it. So I've got a little way to go to catch up with them. So yeah, that should be fun. And I mean, I've also got a couple of other things lying around, but I'm trying to concentrate on fantasy this month, and I will hopefully get some more done of the historical stuff. And I have got obviously the man who mistook his wife for a hat, which is not at hand. But yeah, I'm reading that as well, which is great. Elaine is in. Yeah, I know you're a Canadian. And do you not say biscuit? Do you say cookie as well? Well, clearly you've been Americanized. I'm drinking lemonade today, not tea. So this is the first live stream I think I've ever done without a cup of tea. But anyway, I thought it'd be nice if I read the story Itch. So Troy Tradup, who was one of the editors of the Garbology, so Troy and Ollie asked people to send their contributions to the Garbology, and they would choose what they'd like to include and edit the anthology. And Troy did ask the people that did contribute to read their story in a video, and then he was going to put things together. So I haven't done that yet. So I thought, well, if I do it now, then either I can take it off and send it to him, or if he wants to use it. So I know that Troy has taken himself off BookTube for a while, at least, which is a shame because his channel is fantastic. So I don't know if he'll change his mind or not, but he's gone for a bit. So I think he's still watching BookTube, so he may see this. But I'm going to read Itch. So let me know in the comments if you've already got this and you've already read it. But it's a very short story, so it won't take me long. That's a very short story, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. And here we go. Let's find it. Can't remember where it was. Right. Tell you what, I'll just do the last couple of comments. So yeah, Elaine says she's in Canada, and she says that she says cookie in Canada, which is fair enough. Right. So Itch. It's like a burn. You try to ignore it, you shuffle your body slightly, thinking that it might go away. The itch doesn't go away, it gets more intense. I've lived with the itch since I can remember. It's never failed to interrupt my content, happy resolve. My body is full of self-inflicted tattoos, evidence of endless scratching, blemishes that mark the countless times my body has screamed at me and filled my head with an intense compulsion to scratch the area of the body creating the fuss. I look at my repulsive, worn skin and see a patchwork of lines scoring a canvas of varying pigments. My arms, my legs, my back, and even my neck, ugly and damaged and hidden beneath my clothes. I've sometimes wondered if it was habitual fidgeting that made me attack my skin like I did. I still don't really know why I've done it to such an unforgiving extent. At first, it was the usual scratching with my fingers, and before fiercely biting them off, my nails. I started to lose control of my rationale. I became all consumed with the itch. My fingers weren't enough. My arms couldn't reach some of the places I needed to itch. I would take anything I could find to scratch the itch. A teaspoon, a ruler, a pencil, a fork, some pens, whatever was in the room that could extend my reach. My breathing became audible, and my heart rate sped up instantly as I would search for something to reach the outer limits of my reach. I would jump up seconds after feeling the spike-like tingling at the center of my back and run to the door to rub my back up and down in the hope of the sensation going away. I would do the same on the corners of the chairs in the front room, on the corners of the settee, and even on the corners of any boxes lying around. I was close to tears in the first month of this compulsion, springing from all areas of my body. It would get worse, and it would become unbearable, but in this first month, I thought it couldn't get worse. I didn't notice when I started using sharp objects, like kitchen knives and screwdrivers, for getting to the difficult places on my back. Inevitably, I didn't notice the skin being torn and breaking off as I continued to hack at it with the knives and screwdrivers, desperately trying to stop the itch, making involuntary grunts and moans as I wept. My skin was red raw in the places I focused on for hours. Nails would penetrate the skin, knives would cut the skin, blood was invisible to me during the itching. In moments of reflection, before the itching became constant, I would notice the blood and the scars and sob. I didn't notice it at first. It began 4 months ago. I was behaving as I always did, scratching in private, attacking my body relentlessly for minutes at a time in a blind frustration and a hope that the itch would go away. Then, when I would leave the house, the distraction of being outside, the point of why I was outside, and possibly the breeze brushing past my body relieved me of that tension for a while. In company, I didn't scratch. Then slowly, from last August, a steady increase in tension coming from the surface of my skin turned into an obsession. I couldn't help myself. I was getting more and more distracted by the need to scratch and more tense as I tried to resist through gritted teeth. My manner with people was short and irritable. I was feeling increasingly helpless to my desperate desire to scratch. If I lifted my clothes at any point, I would see the raw, bloody consequences of my manic itching. I knew I was abusing my body and was powerless to stop it. By September, the itching had got to the stage where an hour would go by and I hadn't done anything except scratch. My mind would be focused on one of those nature documentaries I used to love, and I had no idea what was happening on the screen as my mind was consumed by the burning sensation on my left arm. Then once I had paid it some attention, I immediately moved to the lower right side of my chest, then the back of my neck, then my right leg, then it might be back to the initial place on my arm that I started scratching. On and on, my mind was becoming consumed with the uncomfortable anxiety projecting like a beacon from my skin, calling for me to scratch its call away. Every time the scratch wasn't enough. Every surface of my skin became a play area for my fingers. The rising frustration was running concurrently with my inability to get things done or even move away from my chair. Then, in early October, I noticed people around me were scratching more. It was like a subtle dance that I started noticing as I walked the streets in the daytime. With so many people around me, there was an increasing visibility of this communal scratching that I'd never seen before. I wasn't aware of the reason for the scratching at first and assumed it was the heat, or maybe a virus that was going around, or something temporary like that. People weren't looking around as they scratched. They were busy walking past me, driven to get to their destination, but scratching furiously as they walked. Most were expressionless and indifferent to the scratching, casually scraping their arms, neck, or chest while they innocently walked the busy street. Some were noticeably irritated by the demands from their skin, and their rising temper was evident on their face as they battled the need to scratch. As this strange phenomenon began to dominate what I was seeing when I was in public, with every other person visibly maddened by their constant itching, my suspicions were rising that something very worrying was happening. I decided to set up an appointment with my doctor to see if he could explain my now chronic obsession with scratching. The appointment was the following week, and as I walked into the surgery, what I was seeing in the street was being echoed through the reception areas and the waiting rooms. The receptionist took longer to get the words out, to instruct me to sit in the waiting room because of the itching disposition that was making her simple, mundane task so difficult. I knew what instructions were coming and went through to the waiting room, scratching my neck aggressively as I walked into the room. Every person I was sharing the room with was frantically itching a part of their body. Some were so consumed with this action that they were on the floor, relentlessly rubbing their skin, breathless, and evidently at the end of their tether. One was simply quietly weeping while holding their legs together as they sat, rocking. For what seemed like an eternity, I waited and watched the desperate people waiting to see their doctor and receive their sad, vacant stares while the clock loudly ticked from the wall above. Eventually, the doctor appeared at the door and called out my name. He was scratching his right arm as he spoke, the arm bright red from the ongoing scratching. I walked in, keen to tell him of his own issues with my itching and what I could see around me. He outstretched his left arm to usher me to sit down, and I noticed the arm was just as red raw from scratching. I sat down and immediately started scratching my lower back, just below the pelvis, completely indifferent to how that might look to the doctor. Years ago, I would have been self-conscious of any itching, especially in situations like this. But now my relentless need to itch had overcome any rational hesitation. I blindly worked at finding the itch at the center of my fleshy buttock, trying to scrape the surface to get my nails inside the skin to scratch the bone. This was all done with gritted teeth, while my eyes watered and unconscious whimpers came from my mouth. The doctor was delayed by his own scratching, something he was unaware of, and something that didn't enter into the conversation. "So what can I do for you today, Mr. Logan?" the doctor asked, grimacing from his discomfort. "I needed to see you. I'm worried about my skin." I spoke, hesitantly and cautiously. "Your skin?" I don't know how to express what I'm thinking. It seems bigger than just my itching. "You're itching." "I am itching all of the time, doctor," I said, my eyes widening as I stressed the severity of my itching. "Is this a new problem?" the doctor asked, as he looked at the monitor screen beside him and at the notes on my medical history. He was scratching his right leg as he read the information on the screen. "I have always scratched, I guess, but not like now." I was deliberately focusing on my own scratching at this point in the conversation, but I was keen to talk about what I was witnessing around me. "I see no history of eczema, psoriasis, or..." He turned away from the screen and to face me. "No evidence of any allergies." My irritation got the better of me, and talking about the itching to the doctor just exacerbated the tension that was bubbling under my contained temperament. I immediately flared up and let go. "Christ, doctor, I'm itching constantly." I was unaware of how loud I shouted and didn't notice his reflex reaction and hands go up. "Mr. Logan, please keep your voice down." His arms returned to his scratching as he carried on. "We can do some tests to see what's going on with your skin." The doctor was blissfully unaware of his preoccupation with his own scratching and didn't notice that as he was speaking to me, he forcefully grabbed a sharp implement that I didn't recognize and furiously scraped his neck, drawing blood as the skin broke. Shockingly, I didn't react. My perception of what was normal was changing. My awareness of the urge to scratch and my growing disregard for the condition of my skin was getting buried in a new brutal attitude to self-care. The doctor was equally ambivalent. "What kind of tests?" I asked, crossing my arms to scratch each forearm with the opposite hand. We can start with an intradermal test, then a prick test, and once we've done those, we can look at other approaches. The doctor spoke with authority, despite the pitch of his voice rising as he worked his arm around his back. Okay, I replied, intrigued and keen to get to the bottom of the issue. The doctor smiled. I decided to ignore the doctor's scratching, and indeed the scratching I have witnessed around town over the previous months, and pursue some truth about my own skin issues. If you speak to the receptionist, we can arrange for you to come back next week and get those tests done. Thank you, doctor. My gratitude was weighed down by the thought of more days of endless, relentless discomfort and the constant journey around the body as I found new places to scratch and new areas of my body to split the skin and release its trapped blood. I left the doctor's office and set up an appointment with the receptionist, noticing how she typed with one hand while she bit into the other one, seemingly trying to puncture the skin with her teeth. I walked home, occasionally stopping to scratch my thighs, and continued to witness a population roaming the streets with various levels of pain, soreness, and visible frustration from physical distress. I was happy to be home, closing the front door behind me, and immediately following the slam of the door with a dive into the most aggressive scraping I had inflicted on my weakening skin since the problem had started. I was practically screaming with determination as I scraped at my left calf, finding the intense tickling sensation too much for my scratching to deal with, and stumbling into the kitchen to find something sharp to dig further in. I found the bread knife from my kitchen sink, frantically pulled up my left trouser leg, and stabbed into the skin of my calf, howling as it ripped into the thin surface, numb as the blood poured out of my leg like a fluid stream. The strong sensation of the blood flowing out of my leg was a comfort from the pain of the itching. I didn't react with panic, I reacted with relief. Minutes later, my leg, the sock and shoe I was wearing on that leg, and the floor around me were all blood red. The mess was difficult to ignore despite the new deadened consciousness driving my actions. I made a decision to clean myself up and took my clothes off, first with the shoes, socks, and trousers, as I walked towards the bathroom and the shower. Once all of my clothes were off, I stepped into the shower. As I turned the cold water on and fell into its cascading shower, I screamed at the top of my voice in unrestrained exasperation. The sound of the shower disguised my fury, and the water swept the blood away as it flowed from folds of skin that flapped up and down from my left leg. Then, a sensation that seemed to dwarf all of the pain and discomfort overwhelmed me. Across my body, from the bridges of my feet to the folds of my shoulders, a countless number of punctures were felt as my skin was ruptured in hundreds of places. As the skin split open, an ooze of brown liquid flowed out of my body from several different puncture points. I fell to the ground and shook my limbs in a desperate attempt to shake off this tidal flow. The sound that came with it was a high-pitched clacking sound that I'll never forget. It sounded like thousands of crickets all rubbing their wings together in a cacophony of buzzing that revealed what lay dormant under my skin. I stared in disbelief as my body was vacated by this deliberate, purposeful discharge. The brown mass of moving mites had opened up so many gaping wounds in my body that the blood flowed in different directions and at different speeds. I screamed in horror as the areas of my body that I'd scratched became holes where these mites escaped and began their exodus from my body and out of the bathroom. The bathroom floor was carpeted with blood. I was gasping for breath and losing consciousness. I managed to pull myself up from the floor and yank my bleeding, weakening body up to the bathroom window, where I looked out into the street beyond. Across my neighborhood, beyond my bathroom window, I saw scores of people writhing about, all having removed various clothing, while this brown flow of nearly microscopic organisms escaped from their bodies and into the street. As the bodies danced their hysterical, screaming dance of convulsion, and as these seizures brought forth a chorus of pain shrieks from every person in the street, a lake of blood spread out across them. The noise from the thousands of mites that had escaped from the human host bodies was deafening. Now, with such a loss of blood and with a body I do not recognize, and an ever weakening consciousness. I prop myself up against the window pane, look outside at my dwindling neighbors, and helplessly wait for my strength to give out. We are itch. Ugh. Well, there we are. So that was my body horror story. I think I said at the beginning that I was doing it for Troy, but I'll do another version because I kind of faltered a little bit at the beginning. Had to sort of get into it. But yeah, that was Itch from the Garbology collection. I'll see what the reactions were. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let's have a look. Looks like Margaret's here, which is cool. Hold on, I'm going to go back to the. So Elaine said, "I don't have it, but have to behave. No book buying for a little while. Fair enough. You got to temper it a bit." Oh, here we go. Margaret's here. Is it Poetry Thursday? It wasn't a poetry thing, but thanks for popping in. Sounds like a relative of the Mortimorphous cockroach. Was I influenced? I don't know. I'm a big Kafka fan. Long time no see. Yeah, they've been in the other one. I feel itchy. Yeah, yeah. People have said when they read it that it made them feel quite itchy. Hi, Diane. It's Pat. Hello, Pat. Thank you, Pat, for reading my poem out last week. Really appreciate it. I just chopped up apple slices and was worried about having a sharp knife. That's Jim. Hi, Jim. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to jump in and say hi. Thanks, Jim. Appreciate that. That's what it was all about in the end. Mites. Cat says hi. That got gross. It is pretty gross. Thanks, Constance. Yeah. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Jim. Read some Hob out loud. I could do that if you want. I've got the book there. What sparked the idea? Well, it's not going to be a massive surprise, but I just my imagination just ran away with me when I was scratching my leg once, and I was thinking, it's kind of an irritating thing to do, and obviously it is an irritation, but it's also irritating emotionally to scratch. And I just thought, what if you couldn't stop? And once I was thinking, what if you couldn't stop? And then I was thinking, well, why can't you stop? And then obviously that brought me to the ending. Constance got a cake. Can't say the word cake. Yeah, what kind of cake have you got? Thank you, Diane. Oh, really? Well, yeah. I think it's to be fair. I think everybody does, which is why I think I think a lot of people can probably relate to the stress of scratching. A very mediocre cake, a white mix in half. What? Hold on. Spilt a white mix in half. Half with lemon extract and blueberries, lemon glaze frosting. Other half is plain. Will frost the heck out of it. Oh, cool. That sounds really nice. It's just dry skin. Yeah. Yeah. Lemon blueberry. Nice. Moisturize. That was really the first proper horror story. There's one story in the collection which is kind of a psychological horror thing, a bit, but it's not that horror. It's more small science fiction, the one I was thinking of, when these three teenage girls go to a fun fair and one of the riots gets a bit out of hand. And that story's called Miss Audacity. That's the closest thing to horror in the collection, but that was I because the remit of this was trash fiction. I thought I would try my hand at body horror, and actually, based off that, I've written 4 other short stories that would fit into horror. So I am leading up to eventually putting out something called Compulsive Bodies, which it features that story and a story about a man who finds out that somebody has stolen his voice and sold it, which I kind of had fun writing, and another one about a clown, like a children's entertainer who goes mad, and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a few. There's really there's one story I wrote which I don't know if I'll ever put out, to be fair, but I'm always a bit doubtful of this one, but it's really strange. So it's kind of it leads to this huge leviathan creature that does these strange things to the town. They changes their bodies, and they become transformed into these other beings, and it's just a really odd story. But I don't know. I might just put it out anyway. So yeah. Diane says, sounds like an episode of Black Mirror or Twilight Zone. Be fun to add graphically. Yeah, it would. Yeah. Well, I'm a fan of Black Mirror and Twilight Zone, and I'd say there's lots of my first book, the one that Elaine's got, the 10,000 Transformations. A lot of those sound quite Twilight Zone-y. A lot of those, a bit. You can see the influence. Mark says, speaking of compulsive and convulsive, I was wondering about revulsion, but in repulsive, does it have a noun? Revulsion. Revulsion's a noun, isn't it? Revulsion. Repulsive. Repulsive, is that a noun? Repulsion. Yeah. To be repulsed. Repulsion. Yeah. Repulsion's a noun, isn't it? I'm sure you probably knew that as you were writing that. So I do say the word scratch or itch a lot in that story, but I think it works. So yeah, it's a very good anthology. Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. Well, I love the Twilight Zone because I'm doing that deep dive on my channel, and I'm on part 16 now, I think. Repulsion, let down your guard. Yeah, Repulsion, Stiltskin. Brilliant. That's a great story. Oh, that's one I was going to play with, actually. I haven't written it yet, but I had an idea that I was going to kind of write a contemporary version of Rumpelstiltskin with a woman being imprisoned in a basement of a flat, and Rumpelstiltskin being a real person and all that. I was gonna sort of play around with that idea at some point. I had no idea you loved Twilight Zone. Tell me more. Yeah, it's probably the thing we talk about the most on the channel and on the stream. And yeah, there's quite a lot of Twilight Zone videos, to be fair. You say 19th century seamstress as your heroine. Okay, historical fiction. Have I not? Are my stories a bit too contemporary? Is that what you're saying, Margaret? We need more historical fiction in the world. I have to do lots of research, won't I? That'll make it all make it accurate. There was also another story I was going to play with, which I started to write. I've written about a page of it, which is about a man who's on a flight with his family, and then it becomes he's very nervous of flying, but he notices that there's some suspicious people on the plane, and it ends up being a hijack situation. But and they make the plane go in a different direction, and then the big twist. I'll tell you a twist because I don't even know if I'm going to write it. But the twist is going to be that they they kind of reveal, they take the masks off that they're wearing, and they're not human, and they direct the plane to a wormhole that takes them to a different part of the galaxy where they are farming people. I thought that'd be really fun. The worst kind of plane hijack situation you can think of, really, probably. So that's another situation I was looking at. Rumpelstiltskin and Rapunzel. Yeah. Well, Kat knows a lot about different fairy tales as well. Yeah, historical speculative fiction. If you want to make it fairy tale-ish, yeah, yeah. No, that would add a bit of spice, wouldn't it? Gareth, that story. Hold on, where are we? Reminds me of a terrifying bit in the film Serpent and the Rainbow. Oh God, I saw that when it came out. That was late 80s, I think. And there was a feature about that film in a one particular edition of the Twilight Zone magazine as well. There was a special on location kind of feature as well. How are you, Diane? How are you, Diane? Something to make our Earth situation look better. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's funny because you'd want to I mean I've never been in a plane hijack situation, so clearly I'd have to use my imagination. I'm sure I'd be influenced by things I'd seen on TV and stuff. But yeah, to make it that extra speculative, then obviously the idea of it becoming science fiction, hopefully, is a surprise. Would be quite cool. Diane's good. That's good. Can we recommend who goes on the plane? Well, you say that, but it appears that the other side of the political spectrum are making decisions like that, which is part of the scary thing at the moment, isn't it? It needs all the help it can get, Margaret. What's that about? Oh yeah, the Earth, our planet. Yeah, yeah. It's strange times at the minute. Um, and to be fair, that's kind of it's been bothering me actually. I'm sure that's true for a lot of people. And you end up kind of almost you can't take your eyes off it, but you also know that it's kind of making you sort of preoccupied with it and getting you down. So you don't really want to see it, but you also know that you need to be aware of what's happening. And yeah, it's just crazy. But there we are. Sadly, one election can affect the entire world when it's a country that big or that influential. So there we are. So trying to find a balance. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you're trying to find a balance. That's the key to it. So you're not ignoring it all, but you're also not obsessing with it, and you can stay informed. If you were late to the chat, I'll just pick this up again. I've got a history of the biscuit here, which I can't wait to properly get into. It goes right back to when does it go back to? I'll read the back actually because it's quite fun. Especially the first sentence. It almost starts producing some sort of strange nationalistic pride here. This first sentence: British people eat more biscuits than any other nation. They're as embodied in our culture as fish and chips or the Sunday roast. We follow the humble biscuit's transformation from durable staple for sailors, explorers, and colonists to sweet luxury for the middling classes to comfort food for the entire nation. Like an assorted tin of biscuits, this charming and beautifully illustrated book. There's illustrations. So you got like photos of biscuit makers, and I guess earlier than that, yeah, you got some illustrations of earlier times. This beautifully illustrated book has something to offer for everyone, combining recipes for hardtack and macaroons, Shrewsbury biscuits, and Garibaldis with entertaining, eye-opening vignettes of social history. And she's done this author, Lizzie Collingham. Where are we? There we are, Lizzie Collingham. She did, by the author of The Hungry Empire, and Curry, A Tale of Cooks and Conquerors. So she's looked at basically kind of colonialism and the way that it's kind of produced, or the way Indian food has traveled across here. And Indian food is as much a part of British food as all those things they just said, roast dinners and all that. And people have joked about the fact our national dish is chicken madras or something. What they call it, madras? Is it madras? They say it's a no. What's the one? Oh, there's an Indian. What do they say? Something like that. Some kind of Indian curry that they joke is the national dish, and it's because obviously the the British Indian and British Asian population is very large, and it's influenced us because there's an Indian curry house or takeaway on every corner of the street. I'm trying to think of the particular curry that that they always mention. Can't remember. But yeah, so I think that's quite an interesting book. So to be fair, I'm looking forward to getting into it. Just wondering when it starts. I know that I could start it. I think I can start it in the first quarter, so I think it goes right back to pre-500 times. But anyway, there we are. Now is that a British biscuit or biscuit? A British biscuit. Why do Americans think that they invented these foods first? A biscuit is a biscuit, yeah. American biscuit is the alternative, right? As if you read this book, you would see that the biscuit is older than that weird thing I tasted in New Orleans when I had a biscuit that was an American thing. The biscuit in that book is older. God. So here we go. Yeah. Is Garbology a one-time project publication, or will there be another? So that was a decision to basically keep that available for only a year. So that will actually be out of print soon. And then Ollie and Alex from Alex on a Bridge are doing a similar anthology called Trash Tales. So yeah, they're accepting stories for that. Kat says informed without blood pressure not going through the roof is hard to manage. Yeah. I mean that's the thing. Yeah, it's really quite stressy. Which is why I am grateful for the booktube community, amazing supportive people. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it is. It's very important for us to chat together and, as you say, support each other. Yeah. You want to talk about it on a TRC session? Come talk about what on the TRC session? Tell me again. Say something else about that. The lemon blueberry is fabulous. Oh, nice. Constance tasted the lemon blueberry. Awesome. It does sound really nice. Macaroons. I love macaroons. Oh, grabbing some chocolate. Elaine's grabbing some chocolate. Coronation chicken. Yeah, it wasn't coronation. It wasn't butter chicken. I liked Balti, but it wasn't Balti. Balti is one of my favorite curry flavors. Yeah, I think only reminding. Oh, yeah, truth and reconciliation, of course. My series is about climate truth and reconciliation. Margaret stuff. If you don't know Margaret, which I'm sure people on the chat do. But if you don't know Margaret, please check her channel out, because I think all of her videos, I think, are live streams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Margaret. I think all of them are live streams, and they are brilliant. And she talks about really important things, and her novels and her attitude to life. All her videos are very socially aware, and addresses important things. So it's awesome. Glad you're enjoying it, Constance. I always feel it's a missed opportunity to not add lemon to blueberry muffins, or at least extra blueberry juice. I love that combo. I love lemon in anything that's got an extra lemon flavor. Very happy. And funnily enough, I came in tonight and my wife told me that she'd bought some lemon chicken, which is very cool. Butter chicken. Is it chicken tikka? Yeah, that's it. Chicken tikka masala. That's the one that people joke about being the national dish. And actually, tikka masala is a British Asian thing that's not really in India. It's something that the immigrant British Indians created, which is quite cool. Too bad Ven isn't here to wind up that with that. We have quite a learning curve over here. It was years before I realized tea can mean a meal. Oh yeah. We'd have breakfast, dinner, and tea. Or no, maybe breakfast, lunch, and tea. Maybe sometimes dinner and tea are interchangeable words. So, but yeah, even in the house, you might misunderstand each other, because I'm always saying to my wife, do you want a cup of tea? Yeah, if I said, do you want some tea, or do you want tea, then you could think you're offering to make them a meal. But I suppose I'd say a cup of tea, wouldn't I? Yeah. He may be sleeping, has a machine to monitor him. If you're talking about me, then I'm not sleeping yet. Lots of lemon extract. Oh, nice. I love like lemon meringue pie, lemon muffins, lemon biscuits, lemon cake, like lemon drizzle cake, anything like that. Love it. I hear tea, and that strictly means a drink in my mind. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But then you don't. You have iced tea, which we can get over here, but obviously tea over here is always a hot drink, pretty much usually, unless we're trying out something from another culture. But we love our tea. I love tea. Almost all live, yeah. So almost all live streams, but I do prepare. Oh no, absolutely. No, I can see. I can see the idea of just cuts out your editing. You just go for it, and that's awesome. Ven's being spied on by robots while he sleeps. Oh, Ven is being. I get it. I get it. Who is this Margaret you speak of? Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the best things about multiculturalism. The way that cuisine is mixed around as well. There are many pluses to multiculturalism, obviously, and that's definitely one of them. Boop. Tikka masala is a fine choice for national dish. Um, it's not my favorite Indian food. I have, I don't know if you guys know it, but I always I've got a bit of a staple thing I always pick when I get an Indian. I always get a dansak. I love dansaks. It's kind of sweet and hot at the same time. So I'm a big fan of the dansak. Lemon and poppy seed is a popular muffin combo. Yeah, you can get that over here. That's quite common over here as well. I've yet to find a fruity extract with good flavour, but a fresh squeezed lemon always works wonders. I like this. This might not translate, but when we have pancakes over here, I like it just to have sugar and lemon on it. But pancakes over here are different to your pancakes. So American pancakes are round and quite thick, and obviously you have them for breakfast. We don't really have pancakes very often over here, and when we do, we always have them on Pancake Day, which is Shrove Tuesday, which is coming up soon. And we fry them and then roll them up, so they're like sort of rolled up like long things, and I quite like them with lemon and sugar in them. I don't really like loads of stuff in a pancake. For me, it's like really like it's ideal for just lemon and sugar. Ven now has an app he wears to tell him about his sleep. Oh, okay, that's cool. I need to watch his channel more. Constance, my stepmother makes a mean lemon meringue pie. Oh, I love lemon meringue pie so much. It was fought over at many family gatherings. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I think I've got one in the. Oh no, I haven't. I had one in the fridge and I ate it about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's gone. Um, iced sweet tea in the summer. It's a very southern thing. I love herbal tea. It's cold though. Yeah, I mean herbal tea is very popular over here, and fruit tea and stuff like that. But obviously we're known for having lots and lots of different types of black tea. So that's our thing. Family gatherings, RIP. Uh, uh, lemon poppy seed is good, but have you ever had almond poppy seed? Well, again, I love almond flavored anything, and I really, really love marzipan. So I'm sure I love almond poppy seed. I'm a really big fan of almonds. Do you have a recipe? Pancakes must have maple syrup. Yeah, I know syrup's very common. For me, that would make it too sweet for me. Just enough to have lemon and sugar on it for me. But yeah, syrup's very common in pancakes. Rolled up carpets like injera. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So nationalist of you, Elaine. Yeah, Canadian maple syrup. Sounds like crepes. Yeah, yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Uh, I've found them at stores a few times, but I always make sure to have almond extract to fix any cake muffin mix. And found poppy seeds on sale to add on top. I only bake cookies from scratch. That is awesome, Kat. I bet they taste even better. Lemon and sugar crepes. Yeah, I like having them at festivals as well. And when we play at festivals and everyone's gone to bed, and I want to sort of wander around the site and watch these sort of reggae dub bands that are playing at 1 a.m, I like to get a crepe, usually around that time of night as well, on the at the festival. I like music festivals a lot. Cool. I don't often make muffins, so wondering what base to use for a cookie. You did not mention chocolate. Was that an oversight? Is this to the person talking about? Is this about Kat and her cooking? Marzipan. Yeah, I love marzipan. He did not, in fact, wrench cats. He did. Okay. Not an egg sandwich. I love egg sandwiches. So yeah, I often have an egg sandwich after the live stream, and I just fry an egg and put salt and pepper on it, and then I'm happy. You probably didn't have a wrench handy. My head might break it anyway. Oh, thanks, William. Nice to see you, man. Uh, thanks for popping in. I made Margaret sad. How do I make Margaret sad? Well, what am I missing? Sad face. It's here. He did not, in fact, wrench cat. Sad face. Don't like making Margaret sad. People saying hi. are supposed to take you out with a wrench. Yeah, so there we are. Inevitably, we start talking about biscuits, and we have this awesome moment of lemon recipes, cake recipes, and yeah, I have got. If I was going to talk about biscuits, I have got these up here, which are Nan's toffee oat biscuits. So I'm about to open those, and these are 45% less sugar, so they're very good for my diabetes. How we could eat after all that talk of bloody skin. Yeah, I know it's quite a gross story. I don't know what was up with me. I just went to town a little bit on that one. But it was interesting exploring that because I've obviously read a lot of horror. Cats hiding the cookie recipes in the cookbook. Yes, the cookbook, which Elaine was talking about. Cat's written a cookbook that you can buy. Do you buy it on Amazon or do you buy it somewhere else? A cat. Say in the chat where you can buy it because there will be people interested. Thank you, Constance. I did another live stream probably about a month or so ago where I read part of the Brown Yelp Gang novel, and I was going to read another bit of that tonight, and then I thought I'd already read some of it, so I thought it might be a bit weird. But I could read something out of the first book. So yeah, I might do, and I appreciate that. It's something I'd like to get better at, and I find it easier to do this than to read in person at like an open mic night at a poetry night or something. I tried doing that and I was fumbling all over the place. So this seems to be a bit easier. Oh, not easier, but I can do it. Well, it is easier, I guess, because I'm a bit more relaxed and I don't got that sort of performance anxiety of having people in front of me. I'm not a nervous singing and playing songs and stuff, but reading words, you have to read every word, and yeah, I struggled a bit when I tried that. When I released my first couple of books, I read from I did a poetry night, couple of poetry nights when I released my first poetry book, and I read from what was it I read from? I can't remember. I read from one of the stories when I released the first storybook as well. So yeah, I need to get better at that. So this is helping, to be fair. So yeah, thank you, Constance. I will do another one at some point. And yeah, Elaine says, don't forget, Cat has a published recipe book. Margaret says, I looked for Borders ginger biscuits. Nice. But they weren't at the import store. Ah, damn. Next time. Brilliant play. Brilliant play. Have I mentioned the play? Did someone else mention the play? Not sure. It says you need to eat more snacks with non-sugar sweeteners. My wife eats lots of those. Snacks with non-sugar sweeteners. Oh, yeah. I've got some biscuits like these ones. There's a company over here called Guion who do quite good replacement. I call them fake biscuits, and they're quite good for diabetics. But I try not to. Well, I am. These are good to kind of slow down the amount of normal biscuits I eat. But it's an ongoing process. And what I don't want to do is start just having these kinds of things at the is this thing on shows, because I need to eat proper biscuits for those shows. But these are quite good. They're a good company, and they're shortbread biscuits, and they're what's the other one? Their pink wafers taste like pink wafers. These OT ones aren't too bad. Some of it just they had one which I think is their version of a rich tea biscuit called Maria biscuits, and they just taste like paper. Tastes disgusting, but you kind of get used to it, I suppose. Yeah, it is on. Yeah, there we go. It's on Amazon. So, Rarely Homemade by Catherine Jones. There you go. Ginger Pimplified Catherine Jones. So, if you fancy an awesome recipe book, then that's the one. You don't watch horror movies, I guess. Yeah. Oh, it's Dave. What's going on? I know. I'm cheeky bastard. I thought I'd do a live stream, and I did tell you I was doing it in case you want to jump on. But yeah, it's not going to be a long one. Literally, I'm going to wind down soon. No, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's awesome you've done that. Are you publishing a video every day? Is there an end date to this mania? um, well, it's yeah. I'm aware that I'm putting a lot out at the moment. And there's another one coming, which is a good point. Actually, I was going to talk about this. Oh, and I was also going to do some news about the book club. And I was going to get the book to tell you, and I forgot to get the book. Anyway, I'll do that in a second. There is an announcement video coming tomorrow, noon my time. So it will be, what's that? Noon my time is 6 in the morning for lots of Americans, and I think for Canadians as well. So probably 7 in the morning for some other Americans. But midday tomorrow, noon, midday, there's going to be an announcement video that me and Greg have made. So we're going to start a special project that we're going to invite anyone that's interested to do it. I'm not going to say what it is because it will obviously take away the whole point of us releasing a video together at the same time. So it's going to go on his channel and on my channel at the same time. Or is it? Now I'm wondering if it's noon his time and 6 o'clock my time. Anyway, it's going out at the same time, one of those times tomorrow. So there is so when Margaret's saying you're releasing a video every day, I am releasing a lot of videos at the moment, and that's because I've got so much I want to put out, like those tags that have been interesting, and I did I can't remember what I did, but yeah. And tonight was just a little. I just felt like having a chat to you guys, so that was a bit of a whim. It's kind of given me a bit of purpose after a funny day today. I had a bit of a funny day, so it was really nice to chat to you guys. So this was a bit of a surprise one, if you like. But yeah, I've got this announcement video tomorrow, and there's loads of stuff scheduled up, as you probably know. Behave Dave. That's an interesting nickname. Diane says, enjoyed the reading. Thank you so much, Diane. I really do appreciate it. Catch up with you later. Hi, Dave. No, I do not, Elaine. The few I've ventured into have me in knots and nightmares. Oh yeah, I think Margaret said before that she won't read horror as well. So yeah, not quite as desensitized as me. I feel like I can probably read anything, and I don't. This, which is something I talk about in a video coming up about trigger warnings and the book Earthlings that I read. I've got to re-edit it, to be fair. So it was scheduled up to appear probably by now, and I took it back off again because I realized that I said at one point, and I'm going to put the picture here, and then I hadn't put any picture on it. I thought, oh, better take that off and put the picture on it. So I had to do that. Thank you so much, Kat. I really appreciate it. I don't feel like I'm the best reader of the story, so if it's working and the reading is good, then that's great. That makes me feel relieved. So that's cool. Take care, Diane. People saying goodbye to Diane. Kat's noticed Dave's in the room. He was hiding, wasn't he, in the corner? For the record, this live stream was not approved by management. Yeah, Jenny's not here, so clearly I've gone way out of of our programming. Where are your glasses? There's one here. Is Olive going to get us? I've read my poetry to a few times, and it was mostly terrifying. I noticed one time that my diaphragm was trembling so hard that my blouse was rippling. Wow. Yeah, it's funny because even when I perform music, if I'm on my own, I shake a lot. Whereas if I'm with even one person, I'm usually with 4 or 5 people. But if I'm with even just one person, I'll stop shaking. I'm fine. So it's funny, isn't it? So reading poetry or reading your books in public is like a solo thing, isn't it? So yeah, you got to have a lot of balls to do that, I think. No, she's busy wrestling with her sister. Yeah. Olive and Riley have been barking a lot in our shows recently, so they're getting a little bit frivolous, aren't they? Everyone's saying hello. Talk about a nerve feedback loop. Well done. Yeah, yeah. That's what it's about. You should mix some cinnamon ones in. It helps with the sugar levels. Ah, well, cinnamon helps with sugar levels. Is that right? That would be interesting to know. This would be the night Margaret flashes her socks. So Margaret's talking about some cinnamon trick she does with her socks. There's a coffee and tea sweetener in my country called Tropicana Slim. They make additional health-conscious products like biscuits and fruit drinks. Cool. So Indonesia, people, if you were not aware, William lives in Indonesia. Did he correct me? Actually, it might be somewhere near Indonesia. Actually, what was the news about the book? Yes. So let's get to the news about the book club. So I've been kind of stressing about the book club. So I thought it was a really cool idea, and I picked 6 books, and I was getting quite worked up about it, feeling like there was this huge mammoth task I'd created for myself, and I was kind of forcing myself to read books that I might not have wanted to read or decided not to read at that moment. And I was thinking, am I setting myself up to fail? And I was just sort of kind of carrying that around with me while starting the man who mistook his wife for a hat, which is fine. It's an interesting book. I'm happy that was chosen, but I realized that there was one book that I was kind of dreading as the year would go on, and I thought, actually, if I'm worried about that, I should probably change the book. I realized, like, I'll change the book to another book. So we will still have the book on paganism, the history of paganism. We'll still have the book Why We Sleep. We'll still have the book Why We Sing. We'll have the book on fairy tales by Naomi Warner, I think her name is. The From the Beast to the Blonde, which is about the cultural impact of fairy tales. And we've got obviously The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. And I'm going to take out the one about God, which is a really big, thick book that I think it's different to what I thought it was going to be. So I'm going to take that out for a minute, and I'm going to put in a book called The History of the Devil. So it's how the devil has been characterized over the centuries. It's a really cool book, and I read it a long time ago. I used it as one of the sources for my history degree when I was doing witchcraft, when I was doing the witch hunts and stuff. So it'll be a really interesting thing to read again, and that's going to be in the middle of the year when it would have been God and Anatomy. So when I do the monthly roundup, and just now and again when I mention the book club, and when I do the March live stream about the Oliver Sacks book, I'll mention all the books that we'll be doing. And now I'm going to replace that God one with History of the Devil. So hopefully that's fine. No one's going to be like, what is he doing? He's making up as he goes along, and nobody's going to be too angry. But yeah, I'm going to do that. And I feel like it might be quite an interesting discussion as well. Like, and people might have a similar book which looks at the way we have defined the devil and evil, if you like, as well. So yeah, that's the big news I was going to say about the book club. I've changed one of the books. Cheeky git. Olive acting up because he's off camera. 7 a.m. ET. Yeah, I can't remember. I think that's what we decided. We had a chat about it, and just me and Greg decided what time we were going to release it, and we are releasing it at the same time. It's either midday my time or midday his time. I can't remember. It might be midday his time. I can't remember. 14 of us could just learn about the reveal earlier than the general public. Yeah. Well, that's happened. Yeah. Now you've got me curious. Oh, okay. Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, was this? Oh, was I making you curious about me having a crap day? Maybe. So true, Margaret. 7 a.m. coffee time. Yeah, this community is awesome. It really is. It's fantastic. And you guys, I consider you guys friends, and it's very important, I think, to acknowledge that and appreciate it, and think about it, and just acknowledge it because it's very awesome. William says, need to do my tag video. He's got a tag video for the year. 3 tags I've been tagged in. Oh, right, okay. What are you going to do? All of them in one video? Some people do that. That's fair enough. Thanks, Elaine. I really appreciate that. It's always a juggle what to put out so you don't run out of content, or save it for when you run out of ideas. Yeah, I mean, I don't like putting out the amount of videos I'm putting out. I like to, ideally, I'd like to do like 3-day gaps, 3 or 4 day gaps, and I kind of maintain that a lot of the time. But lately, I've been doing like 1-day gap or 2-day gaps, so I have been putting a lot out. So yeah, I get a bit excited. Sometimes I'll schedule them up for like 2 weeks later, and then I'll just go, oh no, I just want to put it out, and it'll be like 2-day gap. So yeah, my chaos twin is missing. How am I supposed to be dirty and spam you on the well, yes, Jenny, innit? Gotta go. Thanks, Dave, for popping in. Take care, Dave. I vibrate when performing. That's a beautiful way of saying that. I'll make no promises, Dave. Have a good one. This is where Jenny would make some dirty comments. Is you're talking about vibrating? Well, yeah. I kind of hinted at that as well. I was waiting. Yeah. Pet co-host. Should I make my aquarium fish? Yes. Yes. That would be awesome. If you can incorporate your fish into your videos, it'll be awesome. It depends what's vibrating. Just clenching my shoulders and back really hard, and your face goes red. Okay, so you're not naturally okay with readings either. It's interesting. Yeah, I knew you'd be up there, so I'm hoping you'll definitely join me when we do a live stream discussion about that book. Marina Warner, that's her name, Marina Warner. She's famous for doing a few books about it. Marina Warner, and it's From the Beast to the Blonde. So, Kat, if you've got access to that book, it'd be cool if you could read it. But if not, you can still be in a chat and you can bounce off the things that we say about the book, because you do know about fairy tales, which would be awesome. So, yeah, From the Beast to the Blonde is the book. So we'll be doing that. And the witches, yeah, there are. It does refer to the because when the witch hunts were happening, there was this thought that the devil had possessed them. They were possessed by the devil. They were being manipulated by the devil. So that's in the book. In the history of the devil, that's another characteristic or appearance of the devil. So yeah, it does refer to the witch hunts. I remember that, and that's why I used it for the essays I was writing. So you're trying to perk up the girls and distract from what you're reading. Yeah, sounds interesting. Yeah, History of the Devil sounds fun. Yeah, I think it's a good one to replace it, and it won't be stressing me out. So just me telling you that I'm going to change one of the books has made me a lot more relaxed about the bi-monthly book club. So just to clarify again, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about anyway, I created this idea. I thought it'd be nice to try it out. A bi-monthly book club. So we have 2 months to read each book. That's why it's bi-monthly. So it's every 2 months. And it's through the year. So it'll be 6 books in all. And I've picked 6 books that I feel like are different aspects of either our behavior or our beliefs. So it's the bi-monthly belief and behavior book club. Lots of bees, but no books about bees. Yeah, that's it. I thought it was Indonesian. I just doubted myself. Do you guys know the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis? Oh, okay. No, I don't know the Screw Tape Letters. I have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I was about to say I haven't read any C.S. Lewis, but I have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe when I was a kid. But I haven't read anything else by him. It's your book club. Don't worry about changing things up. Yeah, I was hoping that would be people's thoughts. Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like that's the best way of looking at it. Definition at the moment. Uh, Elon. Well, yeah. Who knew, right? Who knew that he was be doing that salute? Very strange times. Making schedules and keeping completely to it is way too adult. Got to change it up a bit. Yeah. To be honest, this bi-monthly book club is a much more structured thing than I would normally do on BookTube. So we'll see how it goes. If I enjoy it, then I'll do it again. But if not, it'll be a one-off, 1 year. Because if the live streams work, that's another reason to do it again as well. Yeah, and we're grateful for you to be part of it as well, Constance. You are awesome. I tried to read one of Lewis's non-fiction and never got to it. Yeah, he's written some non-fiction as well, hasn't he? Yeah, just Christianity that stared me in the face for years. Yeah, it was a devout Christian one, and obviously the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe has got lots of those elements to it. Yeah. So Elaine's had a similar experience. Not a great day, but her live stream cheered her up, and I had a difficult day. It wasn't the end of the world, but it's a difficult day. I'm hoping tomorrow will be better. Oh, tomorrow evening might be interesting because I'm going to see the Bob Dylan film with Richie from the band. So effectively my best mate, the closest thing I've got to a brother. We're going to go see the Bob Dylan film, so that should be really cool in the cinema. So we can do that tomorrow, and then on Saturday, I've got a really interesting gig on the Isle of Wight. So I don't know if you guys know what the Isle of Wight is, but Portsmouth's on the coast, and there's an island right next to us, so you could quite easily swim to the Isle of Wight. It's very close, just a couple of miles, and we're doing a gig at this all-day event on the Isle of Wight. Where is it? It's somewhere in the middle of the Isle of Wight. I can't remember where it is. But yeah, we were getting on the car ferry and going over on Saturday, so that should be fun. So I'm looking forward to that. Not sure what that was about. Oh, she's talking about. Oh yeah, so Kat's talking about the Marina Warner one. Yeah. So, but I think you'll like what she does because she's kind of a bit of an expert. It's kind of literary criticism, but about fairy tales. Bees are terrifying. Screw tape letters, not for kids. Okay. Rhyming with snitches. Witches. How do you know she's a witch? Do you guys know the witch scene in the Holy Grail, Monty Python and Holy Grail? It's like such a brilliant scene, and I've seen it so many times and it still makes me laugh. And on the DVD commentary of that scene, the Monty Python team are just laughing, which I think is brilliant. They're not really saying a lot; they're just laughing. Great stuff. I've been called that. They what? You've been called a witch? How do you know she's a witch? She looks like one. They made me wear this. Oh, brilliant. Um, yeah, thanks. Should be cool. Either they're comparing me to one of my pups, or there's a dirtier version. Definitely a compliment. Uh, has a reputation for what? Um, I mean, the Isle of Wight festival is very famous, and we're hoping to play it this year. If we get to play the Isle of Wight festival, it means I'll get to see Sting, which would be very cool. But I don't know. We apparently might be playing in front of festival organisers tomorrow, on Saturday. But oh, it'd be so good. So yeah, I always love playing with the band. Thanks. I know about that island, but don't know much about it. We'll zoom into it. Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid, we used to keep going over there to a place which I don't even know if it still got the same things in it that it had when I was a kid. It was a place right at the bottom, on the other side of the island, called Black Gang Chine. We used to go over there, and what I remember, it was like a big kind of area for kids, like a amusement park kind of thing. And I remember there was these huge dinosaurs. They were like kind of I don't know, I don't know what they're made of, but you could kind of climb on them and stuff. I remember that. That was something really vivid part of my memory. Okay. It's quite a provincial place, I think. People always seem to be dying to get off the island. Um, I don't know. I don't think I've ever said the W word on my channel at all. But that's amazing for you to use that word as you're not even English. That's a very English swear word. Um, bunch of Tories. Uh, fingers crossed. Yeah, thanks. That would be cool. I must be right at the end of the chat. I had a client call me a witch. I asked him what my spiritual path had to do with our discussion. That shut him up. Brilliant. I just went, ha ha ha, and then I said, brilliant. Oh, well, it sounds cool. There are some really lovely places. When it's like really sunny, there's some like sandy beaches and really nice parts of the Isle of Wight. Um, we did a last time I went there. We did. We only go over there to gig now. Really, we went over did a like a what was it a sailing clubs. It was like a private party for a sailing club. That was quite a good gig. You've heard of Glastonbury, yeah, yeah. Glastonbury's probably the most famous festival over here. It's huge. I'd love to play Glastonbury. I haven't played that one yet. It's quite yeah, yeah. Oh, it's not. I mean, there's one word. I mean, I do say that word in real life. Feels weird to say it on the live stream on the channel. But one word I don't say in real life because I just don't like the word. I think it's horrible, and that's the C word. So that's just me. Some people love the C word. I don't use it. This is when you get called a witch. Wow, that's amazing. I can't believe you get called that. Oh, okay. So you do use the word over there, but it's like calling someone an idiot or something. Wow. No, it's a strong word here. When I lived in dorms, my roommate and I had a sign on the door: beautiful individuals that cause hard. You guys quit using it. So obviously, bitch. Yeah. I just saw Brian Cox. Uh, I just saw Brian Cox tie Miriam Margolyes' record using the C word on some British chat show. Using the C word. Wow. That must have been. Was it Brian Cox the actor or Brian Cox the scientist? I can't imagine it wasn't the scientist, surely. It must have been the actor. And maybe he was talking about Trump. He's not very happy about Trump. Is it Trump? Yeah, but he's quite sound, Brian Cox. I think he talks about Farage and that like that as well. Yeah, was the actor. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. Um, really good actor. Yeah, we don't really bleep our swear words in our chat show over here. Don't know what you were watching, but over here people swear all the time on TV. Because they're like when American actors appear in our chat shows, they love it because they say, "Can you say that on on this show?" And obviously they say, "Yeah, we can say whatever we want." And it is funny because like I remember Dustin Hoffman was on the Graham Norton show. Graham Norton's a big chat show over here. This was years ago when he had a different chat show on Channel 4. This was, and Dustin Hoffman, once he was told he could say like shit or something, somewhere like that, or fuck or something, the F word. He started just like constant stream of swear words, just kept saying and laughing his head off. Couldn't believe he could say it. It was really funny. So I always remember that. I thought it was really good. Forced to apologise 3 times. No bleeping. Cox the scientist calmly uses. Yeah, I can't imagine Brian Cox the scientist swearing like that. Yeah, Graham Norton's show is always really good. So yeah, definitely recommend it. He's a really good chat show host. Never really liked his stand up, but he's a really good chat show host. He knows how to communicate with his guests really well and make them feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. That's cool. That's nice that clearly you get to see the Graham Norton show as well, which is cool. The big red chair and all that. There's a lot of interesting things to see on that island. Oh, okay. I think William's been doing a tour of the Isle of Wight while we've been chatting. That's cool. Wonder what the highest point on the island's called. Oh, I don't know. Clips on YouTube. Yeah, yeah. On Google Maps. Yeah, yeah. He's on YouTube. Oh, okay. Fair enough. So, yeah, because once you get into once you've seen a few bits like that, it gets on your feed and you see loads of stuff like that. But yeah, no, he's really good, and he's been doing chat shows for so long. I think it's since me and my wife have been together, so 30 years, in different ways. So he kind of came on the scene in the 90s and had these different chat shows. And I remember even on his first one, he was like phoning Dolly Parton, and oh, she's a friend of mine, and then there'd be he'd incorporate her on the chat that he's having on the sofa, whatever. I used to be on BBC America as well. Got to hop off for a FaceTime with the mum. Okay, ciao, ciao. All you witches. Thanks, Margaret, for popping in. I really appreciate it. I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. So, massive thank you to the people that have been in the chat. I really do appreciate it. Nice little advert for the book. If you can get it, it's only going to be available for a little while longer, the Garbology, because it was always intended to be a little short run. But I think it's Amazon. You can get it, but you might be able to get it from Tough Times Publishing because that's Troy's That's Troy's publishing company. So you might be able to get it from that as well. And it's a great idea. And obviously there's lots of people in here that you'd recognise. So Erie's in here, and Jim's in here, and MJ's in here. So many people. Ollie and Erie's story's right next to mine, in fact. But yeah, so it was cool reading Itch from the book. So yeah, Margaret's gone. Constance is gone. William's gone. We're all going now. Thanks, guys. It's been fun. Yeah, it has been really a lot of fun. So I really appreciate it, guys. I'm going to go and look out for the announcement video tomorrow from me and Greg. And I'll see you on another Is This Thing On with Dave soon. And thank you so much for joining in. See you later, everybody. Have a great weekend. Oh, dear. There we go.